In 2050, Filongio Game Company released a game called Xingyu World, which is a highly free standalone game. This game has been on sale for 3 years. Unfortunately, no one has opened up space in this game without modifying the game data. Ruins, the boss of the 10th floor. Filongio Game Company said in the release of this game, the first game player is not modifying the original data of the game, and getting through the boss on the 10th floor of this game will have hidden Easter eggs worth tens of millions. The promise of Filongio Game Company has allowed many gamers to experience this game for Easter eggs, and the content of the game Xingyu World is also very exciting. Under the promotion of Easter eggs and game anchors to find several characteristic gameplays, let Filongio Game Company sell tens of millions of game verification codes every year. This Xingyu World has developed a high degree of freedom. The reason why no one can get through the game without modifying the data is because in this game, the recruited mercenaries, adventurers, and attributes are all random, while the recruited hired soldiers and adventurers cannot be resurrected once they die, resulting in players' hard work in training high-level mercenaries and adventurers to die unexpectedly in a battle, which directly leads to the failure of players to cultivate the mercenaries and adventurers, which also leads to the difficulty of the game is greatly increased. 2050, December 20th, Huaxia City, on the 23rd floor of the third high-rise building in Garden Community, a young man in the room looked at the computer screen and said with a happy tone, "Hee hee, the orange of the stars is this." The guy actually moved that thing in order to revive his beloved female holy sword mercenary. Haha, this also led him to give up the hidden value of tens of millions of hidden Easter eggs in the Xingyu standalone game. Since he doesn't want it, then I accept it. I didn't expect that it would take so long to grind the 10th level boss to death, but I finally got rid of it. The first place is already mine, but the last film is too long. I'll sleep for a while. Guess, I'll be watching Easter eggs tomorrow. After 2 days of hard work, the somewhat sloppy young man finally defeated the boss on the 10th floor, yawned and looked at the computer screen showing the wonderful fight scene, and muttered to himself tiredly, then walked towards the bed not far from me. Was so tired that I couldn't go to sleep straight to the end. When the sloppy black-haired young man was asleep for half an hour, all the wonderful pictures appeared on his computer screen. Congratulations to the player for killing the strongest boss for the first time. You can get one of the 2 major rewards of the company item. But there are 3 options for the sloppy young people's computers. Item 1. Acquire 1% of the company's shares and become the company's game honorary testing director contract. Item 2. Receive a bonus of 5 million from the company and assist the company in a 1-month promotional contract. The third item. After another half an hour, the sloppy young man's computer suddenly appeared a countdown, but these changes didn't know anything about the sloppy young man who was already asleep. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. When the countdown of the computer reaches 0, the computer directly selects the third item, and the computer's speaker emits a congratulatory voice. Congratulations to the player, since you did not choose, the third item will be automatically selected. Now transfer. When the sound of the computer sound disappeared, a magic circle appeared on the computer screen, and finally a black hole was formed in the magic circle, and the suction of the black hole had no effect on the things in the room, only the sloppy young man who was sleeping kept going towards the black hole. The sloppy young man who was sleeping was teleported from the black hole of the magic circle to a platform. An old man with a long beard under the platform sensed the magic circle behind him and said, "I didn't expect someone to choose the third option. Surprising." Zzz, the very long-bearded old man waited for a while and no one responded to him, and the old man heard the regular breathing sound on the magic circle behind him. He couldn't help turning around and saw the young man is sound asleep. It seems to be automatically selected and transmitted. Since he can't choose his own wishes, then I will help him arrange it. The very long-bearded old man saw that the sloppy young man fell asleep at all. The meaning of waking up is decided. When the old man walked up to the sloppy young man and touched the sloppy young man with his hand, he frowned and said, "This young man's physique is really poor. And now he is in a deep sleep state to recover his spirit. If he is sent to that world, it may be possible he won't live more than a week. It seems that he needs to improve his physique. Dragon blood, as long as this is added, he should be able to adapt to the life there." The very long-bearded old man took out a syringe, and the very long-bearded old man looked at the syringe with silver-white liquid in it, speaking to himself. When the very long-bearded old man gave the sloppy young man an injection, the sloppy young man suddenly woke up with white eyes and looked very painful, and then passed out again, his body twitching continuously. "Hey! There's actually rejection!" The very long-bearded old man said when he saw the sloppy young man's reaction, and then the finger of his right hand lightly tapped the sloppy young man's forehead, and the sloppy young man's expression slowly returned to calm. "Well, that's almost it. By the way, there is this thing." The very long-bearded old man said suddenly a chip was formed in his right hand and placed on the sloppy young man's forehead, and the chip automatically entered the sloppy young man. In the forehead, there is no trace of the sloppy young man's forehead. "Okay, hee, the little guy enjoys life in another world." The very long-bearded old man played tricks on the sloppy young man again, making the sloppy young man look 10 years younger. He nodded with satisfaction and said, then with a finger on his right hand, his fingertips formed a huge teleportation array, which directly teleported the sloppy young man away. On the morning of October 13, 1172, in the Xingye year, in the Bostro fortress in the Dragon Kingdom of the Xingye continent, there was a large tavern with a sign that said Hukal. The tavern is already very lively, mercenaries, adventurers, ordinary people, they are telling stories, bragging, drinking each other, and even insulting, and so on. Damn it! Which stingy caravan issued an mission to Gaya town, and it was only 10 hard silver coins per person. Now it's at least 30 silver coins to go to Gaya town. Even yesterday I heard that the mission to Gaya town was it's only 1 gold coin for 1 person, but unfortunately I didn't catch up. The black-haired young man was drinking ale in his glass in a serious manner, his eyes were watching, he was holding the dishes and wine ordered by the guests, and he was a cute, beautiful, youthful, and energetic girl waiter. I suddenly heard the middle-aged male mercenary complaining to his partner after coming down from the counter of the tavern. "Yeah, that caravan is really stingy, forget it, let's have a drink together, maybe there will be a high-paying and simple task later." The middle-aged mercenary soldier companion suggested to him. "Okay, but Silos, I've been a little short on money recently. You invite me to have a drink first, and I'll treat you to a drink when I have more money, okay?" The middle-aged mercenary asked his companion. "Hee, what am I supposed to do?" "That's all, I'll invite you." The middle-aged mercenary companion smiled and agreed. "I don't have money to drink, so I'm still picky." The black-haired young man who was drinking at the dining table heard the conversation between the middle-aged mercenary and the others, shook his head and laughed softly. "Guyusian. Well, I haven't been back for 2 years, and I don't know how it is now." The black-haired young man Diddy said to himself with emotion. "How much is the boss?" The dark-haired young man came to the counter of the tavern and asked the tavern owner. "Guest, you ordered fragrant charcoal grilled chicken, boiled soil rock fruit peanuts and 2 glasses of barley wine. It will cost you 1.16 silver coins in total." The tavern owner smiled and said to the black-haired young man. The black-haired young man took out a 1-sided silver coin and 2 10-denominated copper coins and put them on the counter of the tavern, asking, "Look at the money, right?" The tavern owner took out 4 copper coins and put them in front of the black-haired young man. "Guest, this is your money." "Boss, I just heard someone say that you have a mission to go to Gaya town. I don't know if it's true." The black-haired young man asked the tavern owner. Hearing the young man's words, the tavern owner nodded and said, "There is indeed such a task, but the reward for this guard task is very small. Are you interested in this task? Well, Yu reading www.yuyugonshu.com will give me a copy. The black-haired young man said. A silver coin. A mercenary badge or an adventure badge, said the tavern owner, pointing a finger. Here. The black-haired young man handed a silver coin and an adventure badge to the tavern owner. Well, the reward is really only 10 silver coins, and we have to meet at the gate of the Bostro fortress before 9 o'clock. Let's take some time. It seems that we can go to the hotel to prepare first and then go. The black-haired young man took the tavern, the boss's quest scroll and the already registered adventure badge. When he opened the scroll, he muttered to himself. Well, it's really lively here. The black-haired young man came to the gate of the Bostro fortress fully armed and said that there were already many caravans preparing to leave and many people like him were waiting for the caravan. Hey! Isn't that Uncle Comedy's? The black-haired young man saw a familiar middle-aged man leading a dozen people to drive 5 mule beasts. Mule beast, the triceratops that looks like a Jurassic movie, is very similar. It is docile, timid, and herbivorous. As long as it does not deliberately attack it to hurt it, it will not actively attack any creatures around it. Advantages: great strength and endurance. Disadvantages: the speed is too slow, and the appetite is large. Said to himself unexpectedly, pulling 5 full cargo trucks to the gate of Bostro fortress. Uncle Comedy's. The black-haired young man shouted to the familiar middle-aged businessman who was driving the mule beast in the mule beast car. The middle-aged businessman sitting in the mule animal cart heard the call to him, so he looked in the same direction as the calling, and when he saw the young man with black hair, he looked a little excited and shouted, "Yan Tialong! Is that you? You? When are you coming back? Citus, the caravan will be handed over to you." The middle-aged Comedy's businessman handed the whip to his companion, then got off the carriage, and Yan Tialong's young man walked over. "Stinky boy, you've been there for the past 2 years, why didn't you write to us, so that we thought something had happened to you?" The middle-aged businessman from Comedy's walked up to Yan Tialong and gently gave him his left breast. Punch's tone was complaining, but the meaning of the words was full of concern for him. Yan Tialong didn't dodge a punch to Yuan's own elder Comedy's, but when he heard what he cared about, he felt embarrassed to touch his hair with his right hand and said, "Uncle Comedy's, I'm so sorry, these 2 years I was so busy here that I forgot that I could still write." "Stinky boy, it's okay for you to lie to others. I think you are too lazy to write, but seeing the way you are now, you must have a long story to tell. This is not a good place to tell stories. Why don't you come back with us? Guyuzhan, tell me what happened to you," Comedy's suggested with a smile. When Yan Tialong heard Comedy's proposal, he shook his head and said, "Uncle Comedy's, I'm sorry. I can't go back to Gaya town with you now." "Stinky boy, why is this?" Comedy's asked in confusion when he heard Yan Tialong's words. "I just took the task of escorting the caravan to Gaya town at the Hao Tavern, so let's meet in Gaya town, Uncle Comedy's," Yan Tialong said. "How dare you ask for the quest from the tavern? Brat, can you show me your caravan quest?" Upon hearing Yan Tialong's words, Comedy's asked Yan Tialong to see the scroll of the quest he took. Of course. Yan Tialong agreed without thinking about Comedy's request to see him, and took out the scroll from his body and handed it to Comedy's. Comedy's opened the scroll and saw the content of the scroll quest and said directly, "Yan Tialong, you are so good at taking the level quest worth 10 silver coins, that's it." "Uncle Comedy's, that's all, is there a problem with this quest?" Yan Tialong looked at Comedy's looking at the quest scroll, and at first looked disdainful, but suddenly became serious and asked nervously. No, hee, Yan Tialong, you did a good job in this task." Comedy's took the scroll and looked at Yan Tialong, his expression suddenly changed and he smiled. Yan Tialong took the quest scroll that Comedy's handed over to him and thought to himself, "Uncle Comedy's looks a bit strange. Is there something wrong with this quest scroll? Yan Tailong, we have something to do with our caravan, we'll see you later. Cometes said when he saw Yan Tailong taking the scroll, then left before Yan Tailong could react, and walked towards his caravan. Uncle Cometes, he looks really strange, is there really a problem with this mission? Yan Tailong said to himself in doubt when he felt that Cometes just looked like him. Well, there's nothing strange about this quest. It's just that the bounty is a bit small. Yan Tailong opened the scroll and looked at it carefully, finding that there was nothing wrong with the content of the scroll, and he wondered inwardly. While there is still some time, I, the author, will introduce some of the protagonist's situation to readers. The protagonist of this book is Yan Tailong, 1.76 meters tall and 72 kilograms in weight. He is now 19 years old. Actual age is 29 years old. Everyone has found that he is not from this world. Yes, he is a 26-year-old homeless person in the 21st century of the earth. No. It's wrong, it should be said that it is the profession of online game gold farmers. After all, the world that Yan Tailong did not cross was an era of technological explosion, which caused most of the physical and simple skills of Yan Tailong to be replaced by intelligent robots. Even if most people have jobs, they only need to work 24 hours a week, so as a result, many people have a lot of time for entertainment, so a large number of various entertainment companies appear in their world, and the biggest profit here belongs to game companies. At that time, there was a famous Filongio game company in China that made the semi-finished online game Xingye World, but the competition between various game companies was very fierce at that time, so Filongio game company was not forgotten by players in this competition. I modified the Xingye World I was making, and changed it into a standalone game, and set a special code in the game to sell it directly. It's just that Filongio game company didn't expect its game to be so popular, and constantly updated and strengthened the content of Xingye World driven by interests. Originally, Yan Tailong was at home and finally managed to get through the 10th floor boss in Xingye World. He fell asleep because he was tired and wanted to wake up tomorrow morning to see the reward. When he woke up, he found himself in Gaihu town for no reason. At that time, after a period of beggar life, I found out that this world is almost exactly the same as the Xingye World map of Filongio Game Company. What is different from the game is the characters. Whether it is the king of the Flying Lion Kingdom or the mayor of Gaihu town who is about to go, some famous big figures are different from the game characters. Yan Tailong also found that his body had returned to the way he was 16 years old when he first came to the other world. It was only after he lived in the other world that he realized that he had a game system. At the same time, he also had the same 5 star talent and legendary level as the game's self-selected appearance protagonist. All attribute Do Chi and legendary level all attribute meditation, but the growth attributes of the two skills are very low, as low as 5 star talent growth attribute is the same as 1 star talent ordinary non-attribute Do Chi and meditation, and cannot learn other Do Chi and meditation. It is said it was the game company that deliberately suppressed the protagonist's growth talent, so that the player could experience the other content of the game and deliberately suppress the quality, but he didn't expect the setting of the game, but the reality was the same. Because the protagonist of the game is too difficult to train, the protagonist of the game is a living subsidy, and Yan Tailong can be said to have learned a lot of life skills just like the protagonist in the game after living in another world for 3 years. Because of the blood of the dragon, his own strength has reached 3 stars. Of course, for 3 stars, he is the weakest. First introduce the main attributes: 2.5 stars, strength physical lethality, strength growth attributes, 3 stars, endurance vitality, life recovery and strength recovery and defense stars, 1.5 stars, agility movement speed and attack speed, game speed and attack speed. There is also an increase in dodge, 3.5 stars, wisdom understand all skills and deal with things successfully, 2 stars, mental power magic attack and magic recovery, 1 star, charm normal appearance, 2 stars. Experience. Combat attributes, 3 stars, actual combat, 2 stars, one-handed swords, 1 stars, two-handed swords, 1 stars, dual-wielding swords, 1 stars, wind magic and 3 stars, stealing. Combat skills, 4 stars, basic swordsmanship, increase the power of all swordsmanship by 1% to 5%, can be taught. 3 stars, intermediate basic swordsmanship, increase the power of all swordsmanship by 2% to 10%, requires 2 stars, beginner basic swordsmanship can be learned, can be taught, 2 stars, intermediate movement technique, wind feather drifting, increase movement speed by 10% to 50%, increase dodge in the game. Wind attribute fighting spirit increases by 15% to 75%, can be taught. 3.5 stars, elementary one-handed swordsmanship, shield swordsmanship, increases lethality by 7% to 35%, and increases the probability of shield defense by 3% to 15%. 2 stars, intermediate one-handed swordsmanship, Fenjihu swordsmanship, increases lethality by 15% to 75%, and increases attack speed by 3% to 15%. Wind attribute fighting chi, increases lethality by 20% to 100%, and increases attack speed by 5% to 25%. If you learn wind feather drift, your attack and movement speed will be increased by 1% to 5%. When reaching 3 stars, it can increase the lethality of all wind type one-handed swordsmanship by 10% and the attack speed by 5%. Learning requirements: 2 stars, beginner one-handed swordsmanship, teachable. 2 stars, beginner two-handed swordsmanship, gravity swordsmanship, increases lethality by 30% to 150%, and has a certain probability of knocking back enemies whose strength is lower than one's own strength, can be taught. 2 stars, primary dual-wielding swordsmanship, second stage swordsmanship, increases lethality by 3% to 15%, and increases attack speed by 5% to 25%, can be taught. 3 stars, treasure level thieves, Fei Tanxiao steals 15% to 40% of items from frontal combat characters, and 60% to 95% of items stolen from people who do not have both. Can be taught. 2 stars, treasure level thieves, environmental concealment under the condition of not moving, disguise as the surrounding environment to deceive the enemy's sight, can be taught. 3 stars, treasure level thief, stealth with light steps when the movement speed does not exceed 60% to 120%, the enemy will not be able to see the front. Special note, during the day and the full moon, be careful of the enemy and notice your feet, teachable. 2 stars, primary wind magic, wind blade, increases lethality by 20% to 100%, can be taught. 2 stars, primary wind magic, Feng Yu, increase movement ability by 10% to 50% for a period of time, can be taught. Special awakening skills, Dragon's Eye, also known as True Eye, can see through all illusions, and at the same time can learn target skills and spell casting with a certain probability, cannot be taught. 1 star, legendary all attribute Do Chi, increases strength, stamina, and agility by 50% to 250%. Note, all fighting skills can be used. Due to the special nature of Do Chi, the amount of Do Chi collected is very scarce, and it is very difficult to train to the top. The protagonist's exclusive fighting spirit, Yu reading www.yuyuganshu.com cannot teach it. 1 star, legendary all attribute meditation, increase spiritual power by 50% to 50% and magical reserve by 100% 500%. Note, all magic can be used. Due to the special nature of meditation, the collection of magic power is very rare, and it is very difficult to practice to the top. The protagonist's exclusive meditation cannot be taught. Finally, I will introduce my own characteristics. Quickly master the ability to quickly learn skills and improve skills to the highest level. XXX Dragon's Blood, high purity, People with dragon's blood have stronger growth and resilience than ordinary people in strength, endurance, speed, and spiritual power, and at the same time have a small amount of poison immunity. Lust, influenced by dragon's blood, unexplained. Collection, dragon's blood influence. Dragon's blood influence causes the protagonist to have a strong desire to collect valuable things. Taking his collection from him is as difficult as taking a gold coin under the eyes of a giant dragon. Living allowance, 0.5 stars, tailoring, 2 stars, blacksmith, 1.5 stars, digging medicine, 3 stars, apothecary, 1.5 stars, fishing, 1 star, logging, 1 star, mining, 0.5 stars, building, 1 star, enchanting, 1 star, planting all, 2 stars, painting, 0 stars, sculpture, 1 star, magic array, 0 stars, domestication, 2 stars, hunting involving tracking, finding traces of enemies. There are too many life skills for the protagonist to introduce here, and will be introduced in the content later. Huli call the tavern a level Gaihu town task. Please receive the task and gather here soon, we are about to set off. Yan Tialong was waiting for the task gathering time to hear the big tree on the left side of the gate of Bostro Fortress. Someone shouted. It's finally here. Yan Tialong said to himself when he heard the businessman's voice and walked over to the mission location. Here. This is my quest scroll. Yan Tialong came to the businessman who issued the quest and handed over his quest scroll to the other party. No problem, this is your quest deposit, I hope you can protect our caravan well. The businessman looked at Yan Tialong's quest scroll to make sure there was no problem, then took out 2 silver coins and the quest scroll from his wallet and handed them over to Yan Tialong Road. The caravan's people waited for a while, and then said loudly, I remind you one last time, how to call the tavern a level to Guyu town, please come and gather here. Wait a minute. We are the adventurers who picked up the Howling Tavern a class to Guyu town. A mature female voice shouted just after the merchant finished shouting. Phew, this is our mission scroll. The 2 dressed in grey trench coats and came to the businessman with a head and took out 2 scrolls and handed them to the businessman. I didn't expect that other than me, someone else would take this task. It seems that these 2 people don't know how to the newbies of Guyu town. Yan Tialong watched the 2 men in trench coats hand over the task scroll to the businessman. He didn't think about it at all. Just like him, the 2 went to Guyu town to pick up the task. By the way, Aunt Lan, we haven't completed the task yet, why did they give us money? The mysterious man beside the mature woman asked the companion beside him in a puzzled voice after receiving 2 silver coins from the businessman. And Yan Tiaxiang just happened to hear the mysterious man and thought directly in his heart, sure enough, he is a novice. Shite Alia, important heroine, this is the practice of missions, we adventurers who received the deposit have some time to buy equipment, but now we are late, the caravan is about to set off, I will definitely not give us this time again. The mature woman known as Aunt Lan explained to her niece. Aunt Lan, aren't these businessmen afraid that we will get the money and run away? Shite asked Aunt Lan. Hee, Shite, have you forgotten the adventure badge we just registered? The person called Aunt Lan asked his niece. Can Aunt Lan ensure our escape by registering our adventure badge? Shite asked Aunt Lan. Of course, if you register an adventure badge in the tavern and then take the deposit instead of completing the quest, it will be a great blow to your reputation. In the future, if you want to take the quest, it will be difficult to receive the quest, because everyone is not there. I trust you, so when adventurers and mercenaries receive tasks, they will try their best to complete them. Aunt Lan explained to her niece. I see. I didn't expect adventurers to be so interesting. Shite suddenly realized and excitedly said. Uncle Comedes. Time is up, we should set off. The young businessman who looked at Yan Tialong's quest scroll shouted to the leading mule animal cart. When Yan Tialong heard the young businessman shouting, he was suddenly surprised, and looked at the mule animal car, the leader of the caravan. When he saw the middle-aged man showing the head of the mule animal car, he shouted, "It's really Uncle Comedes. Xiao Nan, then let's go." Comedes instructed the young businessman. At the same time, he seemed to notice Yan Tailong suddenly and smiled, "Hey! Tailong! I didn't expect us to meet again. Could it be that you also take the task I posted? That's great." Yan Tailong looked at Comedes, who deliberately made an unexpected expression, just wanted to walk in front of him and punch him fiercely, but he held back and said with a twitching mouth, "Uncle Comedes, you just don't pretend, I didn't say that I took your mission from the beginning to the end, and just now your companion didn't tell you who took the mission." Seeing the twitching expression on Yan Tailong's face, Comedes knew that there was anger in his heart and was a little disappointed. "Tailong, I want to give you a surprise, but I didn't expect you to be moved by a little humor, it's really impressive." Disappointed. When Yan Tailong heard Comedes' words, his expression suddenly changed, and he became very friendly. He quickly came to the Comedes' mule animal car, and his tone became pitiful and flattering. "Uncle Comedes, the boy has not had a good life in the past 2 years, and now he can only eat brown bread and water. Why don't you give me 20 or 30 silver coins as your reward for the guard task, even if you take pity on me, okay?" Comedes was caught off guard by Yan Tailong's sudden transformation, but he quickly reacted, from a charitable expression to a roar, "Fuck you stinky boy, don't act pitiful with me, how much is written in the mission scroll? The commission is how much the commission is, and I will not give you one more." Yan Tailong wiped the spit from his face with a look of disgust and regret. "I knew I would not take this mission, and I don't know what I can buy for 10 silver coins." Hearing Yan Tailong's words, Comedes smiled happily and said, "Haha, 10 silver coins really can't buy anything, but at least it won't make you starve to death in a short time." Comedes smiled proudly for a while, and when he saw Yan Tailong who looked annoyed, he remembered that he knew almost nothing back then, and said he was the savior of the world. "It's the same. Come on, tell my uncle how the past 2 years have been." "Uncle Comedes, you are the same as before, you haven't changed at all, you are still so stingy." Yan Tailong and Comedes suddenly interacted, making the people who knew Comedes and the two who took up the task looked puzzled, but when Yan Tailong got on the mule animal car, he knew he was going make the final preparations and start the road. When the caravan walked on the road for 3 hours, Yan Tailong told Comedes and the mule animal cart what had happened to him in the past 2 years. "So, Tailong, you have spent the past 2 years studying in Dishi City, Shuki, which is known as the City of Wisdom. What are your plans for coming back this time?" Comedes heard Yan Tailong tell about these 2 years. "Ask what you plan to do when you come back. The 2 years of living in Shuki Dixie City have made me fully realize that a person's power is really too small, so this time I come back and plan to form a mercenary group that belongs to me." Yan Tailong replied with ambition. "Tailong, then why don't you set up a mercenary group in Dishi City, Shuki? You must know that there are a lot of new people who want to take risks every year in Dishi City, and it is very easy to hire mercenaries and adventurers there. Why bother? How about coming to Gaiu Town?" Comedes asked in confusion when he heard that Yan Tailong was going to return to Gaiu Town to form mercenaries. "Hi!" Yan Tailong sighed and said, "In Shuki Dixie City, I can indeed recruit a lot of like-minded partners, but unfortunately I can't support a team there." Hearing the helplessness of Yan Tailong's tone, Comedes asked in confusion, Why is this?" When Yan Tailong heard Comedes' question, his expression changed with a relaxed smile and said, "Uncle Comedes, most of the tasks in Shuki Dishi City and surrounding towns and villages are monopolized by famous mercenary groups and guilds, and the rest are its leftovers, and it's not bad to be able to support yourself, let alone a team." Hearing Yan Tailong's words, Comedes said solemnly, "Tailong, you must know that the competition in Gaiu Town is more intense. Don't think that you can support the mercenary team by returning to Gaiu Town." Yan Tailong looked at Comedes and said, Hee, Uncle Cometes, isn't it still you? Born as the owner of Liuyukian Tavern, one of the 3 major taverns in Gaihu Town, I can support a team of hired employees. Core should be very easy. Humph. Cometes snorted coldly and said, Tialong, don't think you have anything to do with me, I will take special care of you, you have to organize a mercenary group, and I will treat you like other mercenary groups. Yan Tialong heard that Cometes would not take any special care of himself, but smiled, Hee, Uncle Cometes, this is the best way, there is competition, there will be growth, as long as you treat each mercenary group fairly, then it's the biggest help for me. By the way, besides you, Tialong, who else? Cometes suddenly remembered and asked. When Yan Tialong heard Cometes' words, he looked a little lonely and said, there were originally 3 good friends who were willing to come with me, but unfortunately they separated from me when something happened on the way, and now I am the only one left. Oh. So Tialong, the first thing you do when you go to Gaihu Town is to recruit partners, right? Cometes asked when he heard Yan Tialong's lonely tone. Yan Tialong nodded and replied, well, not bad. Seeing Yan Tialong nodding and his response, Cometes said, since Tialong, you are looking for a partner, there is a good candidate on my side that I can recommend to you. When Yan Tialong heard Cometes' words, he said with a worried and skeptical expression, Uncle Cometes, you won't introduce some new people and let me help you train them. Seeing Yan Tialong's expression, Cometes got a little angry and said, I really recommend this time, but it's a very powerful young man, not the rookie you let you train. That person does have some problems, but he is suitable for you now. Yu reading www.yuyugonshu.com. As for whether you want to take him in or not, that's your problem. Oh. That's interesting. Since Uncle Cometes recommended it, I have to take a good look at that person, Yan Tialong suddenly stopped in the middle of speaking. Seeing Yan Tialong's expression, Cometes asked. That's it, Tialong. Yan Tialong looked at the strangeness in the distance and said to Cometes next to him, Uncle Cometes, about the person you recommended, we will talk about it later. Now let everyone prepare for the battle. When Cometes was still wondering what Yan Tialong said, he saw 1 or 2 animals about 1 meter tall and covered in green food in the grass in front of the road, and he cursed inwardly, damn little greenskin. Little greenskin, the full name of the green-skinned goblin, this creature is a brand new creature created by the hybridization of a goblin and a goblin when it was born in ancient times. This creature not only inherited the goblin's green body but also inherited the kid's amazing reproductive ability, but this creature has low intelligence and has always been in the Stone Age, and the who created them has tried many ways to change the intelligence of the green-skinned kid, and finally let the directly give up this kind of thing. Race. Green-skinned kid, it belongs to omnivorous. As long as you can bite, you can eat almost anything. Personality, timid, likes to live in groups. Adult height is generally 0.8 to 1.2 meters. It takes 2 years to hatch from an egg and become an adult. Each time it produces 3 to 8 eggs, it can produce 3 to 5 times a year. The lifespan of this kind of creature is about 10 to 15 years. Of course, there are exceptions, which will be introduced later in the novel. One last point to introduce, an ordinary adult who does not know any martial arts can single out 1 to 3 green-skinned goblins. Cometes stopped Muleman and reminded his companions loudly, everyone is ready to fight, there is a little green skin in front. More than a dozen guards from the caravan hurriedly ran to the position 3 meters in front of Yan Tialong's mule animal car to take a defensive posture, and Cometes saw Yan Tialong about to get off the car and waved his hand to stop him. These little greenskins of Tialong are just leave it to the guy to handle it, and you can stay to prevent accidents. Yan Tialong was stopped by Cometes, and when he heard his words, he guessed and asked, Uncle Cometes, are those guards newcomers who have never seen blood in Gaihu Town? Cometes nodded and admitted, oh, not bad. However, Uncle Cometes, can you really be sure that those newcomers can beat so many little greenskins? Yan Tailong pointed to 30 or 40 skinny goblins that had appeared from the grass, and there were still skinny goblins who kept coming out of the grass. Appeared and asked. Hee, Tai Long, you forgot that I wasn't the only one on this mission. Committees pointed to the two who had previously taken the mission, and one of them had already gone to the newcomer's side, the young female adventurer. Reminded. Uncle Committees, don't count on him. Don't look at him wearing knight armor. In fact, he is also a rookie, and the other is a veteran, but he didn't play. Yan Tailong looked at the young man's women take off the windbreaker to reveal the whole body of metal knight armor, and another woman who couldn't see clearly because the windbreaker prevented them from going up to help them, reminded Committees. Hee, it seems that I was lucky this time, I actually recruited 3 masters. Committees heard Yan Tailong's words, not only was not depressed but said happily. Yan Tailong asked with surprise when he heard Committees' words, 3 masters. Uncle Committees, are you kidding me? Committees smiled at Yan Tailong and said, Tailong, you are still too young, you must know that the veteran you said stayed behind and didn't play, which shows her confidence in the strength of her companions. I want to wear a knight. The young man in the armor must be very strong, maybe he will be able to solve these little greenskins by himself, and you will not need your shot at that time. Yan Tailong also smiled when he heard Committees' words, haha, I don't have to take action, that's really great. I've been on the road for the past few days, so I have to take a good rest. While Yan Tailong was talking to Committees, the green-skinned kid gathered about 50 heads, and rushed towards the front troop of more than 30 guards and young men in knight armor. The dozen or so new caravan guards saw the green-skinned kid rushing towards them, forcing them to be prepared, but they were all very nervous, and some even took a step back in fear. At this time, the young man in knight armor, female, noticed the situation and came to the front of the guards to face more than a dozen new guards and shouted loudly, everyone, these little greenskins can kill even children. You retreated and fled, aren't you afraid of being laughed at by the world as cowards who are worse than children? If you don't want to be laughed at, take up the courage to fight with me. More than a dozen new guards heard the words of the young man wearing the knight armor, and they all felt very reasonable. No one backed away and clenched their weapons to look at the green-skinned kid who was rushing over to defend the first wave of shocks. Yan Tailong sighed when he saw that a dozen new guards were encouraged by the young man in knight armor to recover and improve their morale. The newcomer is really passionate. It's so easy to be motivated by words that have no practical benefit. Tailong, not everyone wants money like you. Committees said in a dissatisfied tone when he heard Yan Tailong's words. Cut. Uncle Committees, don't come here. I learned from you the habit of asking for money. You must know that back then. Yan Tailong talked endlessly. But Committees didn't listen and interrupted when Yan Tailong was talking, it's amazing. He really is a master. The strength is not bad, but he is really a novice. Yan Tailong was interrupted by Committees and did not get angry. When he saw the master that Committees said, he found that the young man wearing the knight armor female led more than a dozen new guards nodded and said after bearing the first wave of small green skins. Seeing that Yan Tailong was successfully diverted his attention to the dozen or so new guards who were fighting against the green-skinned kid, and the young man in knight armor who didn't know what he looked like, Committees subconsciously wiped his sweat-free forehead and thought to himself. This kid is getting more and more slippery. Yan Tailong saw that the young man female in knight armor was surrounded by 5 green-skinned goblins, and the young man named Shite, female, pierced the forehead of the nearest green-skinned goblin without any hesitation. Which caused the other 4 green-skinned goblins to watch the death of their companions and feared to flee separately. The young Shite did not chase the fleeing green-skinned goblins. Instead, they looked at the other green-skinned goblins around cautiously and shook their heads and whispered, it seems that this is the first time he fought against the little greenskin, such a good opportunity to continue to chase and kill has been given up. At the same time, Yan Tailong saw more than a dozen new guards fighting against more than 30 green-skinned goblins, but there were no casualties, but when there was a loophole in the defense, he said to Comedes beside him, "Uncle Comedes, from Gaiu town. The newcomers are getting weaker and weaker. How can they even have such a poor sense of cooperation?" When Comedes heard Yan Tialong's words, he remembered something and said with a smile, "Tialong, I remember when you came to Gaiu town, the first time you hunted with people, and in the end you were very embarrassed by a forest wolf. Almost got bitten to death by a timber wolves. Uncle Comedes, it seems that the young man in knight armor who took over your mission this time is a noble." The armor changed the subject. "Oh! Tialong, how do you know he is a noble?" Comedes asked curiously when he heard Yan Tialong's words. "His swordsmanship." Yan Tialong said directly. "You can confirm that he is a noble by his swordsmanship?" Comedes asked in disbelief when he heard Yan Tialong's words. "Fiki special noble swordsmanship advanced one-handed swordsmanship, increases lethality by 25% to 100%. Increases parry probability by 10% to 30%. Increases attack speed by 3 to 15%. The signature swordsmanship of the Nobles Academy of Mitters, only the students of Fiamitas Academy can do this kind of swordsmanship, and the school recruits only nobles, so I say he is a noble." Yan Tialong explained. "Hehe, Tialong can't be a noble with just one set of swordsmanship. You must know that many people can learn this set of swordsmanship by other methods," Comedes said. When Yan Tialong heard Comedes' words, he smiled and said, "Hehe, swordsmanship routines can indeed be learned from other places, but the knight armor on the young man's body can confirm that he is a noble." Hearing Yan Tialong's words, Comedes looked at the young man in the knight's armor again and said, "N. Tialong, the armor that the young man is wearing is nothing special." "Hehe, it looks like Uncle Comedes, your eyes are getting worse and worse. You are looking carefully at the armor on the left side of his neck." Yan Tialong pointed to his neck and said to Comedes. Comedes looked at the young man in knight armor and said unexpectedly at the place where Yan Tialong pointed to the neck armor, "Well, that's a noble pattern." "That's right. I noticed that pattern just now, but Uncle Comedes, your 10 silver coins are not enough for this maintenance." Yan Tialong said. "Howl." After Yan Tialong and the others thought there was no suspense and finished cleaning up the green-skinned little devils, they suddenly heard a howl. "Uncle Comedes, it's a big green skin. And it has 3 heads." Yan Tialong heard the howling sound and quickly looked in the direction of the howling sound. When he saw the 3 heads about 2 meters tall, they looked very strong and green. Some rough orcs raised their brows and reminded them with a big wooden stick. Big green skin, the full name is Greenskin Horn-Tooth, and they have nothing to do with orcs. This kind of creature, like the green-skinned kid, is a masterpiece created by the same ancient during your boring time. It is also low IQ and has a blood relationship with the green-skinned kid. This kind of creature keeps the green-skinned goblins as livestock and servants, because the evaluation of wealth and status in their clan depends on how many green-skinned goblins they have. Of course, if they don't eat meat for a long time, they will treat the green-skinned goblins as a meat food, which also ensures that the green-skinned imps do not flood. Green-skinned horned beast. The reason why he is called the green-skinned horned beast is because his 2 teeth are exposed outside his mouth and are as sharp as the horns of some animals. Belongs to omnivorous, biased towards carnivorous creatures. Personality, fierce, aggressive. They often fight within the clan because of the ownership of the green-skinned kid, which also leads to a balance of their numbers, otherwise the human world would have been wiped out by them. Adult height is 2 to 3 meters. Viviparous, it takes 10 years to reach adulthood, only 1 child is born each year, and 1 child is born with 1 to 3 heads. The lifespan of this creature is generally 50 years. They are naturally strong warriors, and at least 3 to 5 well-trained and cooperative soldiers are required to deal with an adult green-skinned horned beast without a Class A. Damn, how can there be a big green skin? Comedes cursed when he saw the green-skinned horned beast, and then asked Yan Tialong, "I will give you the green-skinned horned beast of Tialong, Do you have any? Question. Of course it's no problem. 2 years ago, it might have been a little difficult for me to deal with the 3 heads by myself, but now it's a very easy thing for me. Yan Tailong said confidently. Seeing the confident face of Yan Tailong, Committees called, then please. Elf of the Wind, please lend your strength to me Feng Yu. Yan Tailong cast a supplementary wind magic to himself. I didn't expect Tailong to learn magic. It seems that he has learned something incredible in Shuki Dixie City in the past 2 years. Committees heard Yan Tailong chanting a spell and saw that a magic circle was quickly formed on him, and he felt in his heart. Thought unexpectedly. At the same time, the women who were just beside Yan Tailong and his Mulu animal car did not know that the adventurer who looked like rushed quickly to the 3 green-skinned horned beasts, because the young man in knight armor was killed by one of the 3 green-skinned horned beasts. The wooden stick repelled, and then quickly went to support after getting into a tough fight. Yan Tailong released a subsidy magic to himself, and saw that the female adventurer on the battlefield used a whip to rescue her partner from a dangerous situation, but it also caused her to fall into the pincer attack of 2 green-skinned horn-toothed beasts and fell into a hard fight. Tailong, that female adventurer is a beautiful woman. You. Committees saw that the female adventurer was swept away by the green-skinned horn beast's hood, revealing her beautiful blonde hair and delicate and beautiful face. He said to Yan Tailong beside him, and turned to look at Yan Tailong beside him, only to find that he was no longer there. Yan Tailong quickly rushed towards the female adventurer with 2 green-skinned horn-toothed beasts, but unfortunately, he was blocked by a green-skinned kid who suddenly appeared in the battle circle of a dozen newcomers. He kicked the impatient Yan Tailong and said, "Don't get in the way, just get out of the way for me." The new guards around saw Yan Tailong's easy solution to the green-skinned kid, and they were a little dumbfounded. An unimpeded path. Yan Tailong quickly came to the female adventurer. Before the female adventurer could react to block the green-skinned horn-toothed beast that was attacking her, he still had enough energy to urge the female adventurer, "Beautiful lady, my name is Yan Tailong. Is a deep adventurer, I wonder if I can treat you to a drink when I get to Gaiu town." N. The young man in knight armor called Ant Lan, the beautiful adventurer, was very surprised that Yan Tailong suddenly appeared and helped him block the attack of the green-skin horned beast. In Ant Lan, the adventurer hadn't answered Yan Tailong's invitation, and the young man wearing a knight armor behind her shouted at Yan Tailong, saying, "How can a rude adventurer like you be able to challenge my Ant Lan? Boy! I invited this beauty, not you. Even if you know him well, it's this beauty, not you, that decides whether to accept my invitation or not." Yan Tailong blocked the green leather corner with his sword. "Fang Beast's big stick," and Leisure Yazi said to the young man in the knight's armor. "Shi Ti. And your excellency, you have something to talk about in the battle now." The adventurer who was called Ant Lan by the young man in the knight armor shouted loudly to avoid the green-skinned horned beast's stick. "Since the beauty has spoken, then please leave me, you guys who are in the way." When Yan Tailong heard the beautiful adventurer's words, his eyes became sharp and pointed at the green-skinned horn-toothed beast who was competing with him. "Ah!" Yan Tailong roared to increase the strength of his sword, and broke away the green-skinned horn-toothed beast that was competing with him. Before the green-skinned horn-toothed beast could stand firm, Yan Tailong pursued with the wind and feather swordsmanship. Before the green-skinned horn-toothed beast could react, it was split into 2 pieces by Yan Tailong's sword from the waist. Wind blade. At the same time, Yan Tailong's attack did not end. Before splitting the green-skin horn tooth into 2 segments, he was already silently reciting the wind magic incantation. After he finished splitting the green-skin horn tooth beast into 2 segments, he released it with his left hand. With wind magic, more than a dozen wind blades were fired precisely behind the young man wearing the knight armor and shot at the neck of the other green-skinned horned beast without any armor. The green-skinned horn-toothed beast was hit by Yan Tailong's wind blade on the neck, which directly caused the blood vein of the green-skinned horn-toothed beast's neck to be cut off. The green-skinned horn-tooth beast covered its wound with its own hand in pain to prevent the green blood from flowing out, but unfortunately it was useless. Could not stop at all, and finally collapsed and died of bloodshed. Ah! The last green-skinned horn-toothed beast saw that its companion was quickly dealt with by a human. You think you're still running away? Die for me! Yan Tialong saw the last green-skinned horn-toothed beast running away without looking back, so he picked up the big wooden stick with the dead green-skinned horn-toothed beast beside him, and threw it directly to escape green-skinned horn-tooth. I don't know if the green-skinned horn-tooth was bad luck, or Yan Tialong's hit rate was too high. The big stick thrown by Yan Tialong perfectly hit the back of the green-skinned horn-tooth's head. After the green-skinned horn-tooth was hit, it ran forward twice. Step, fell to the ground and fainted. Yan Tialong looked at the green-skinned horn-toothed beast that fell to the ground and walked to his side, and cut off the head of the green-skinned horn-toothed beast, who didn't know if it was alive or dead, and said, "It is very important to make up for the knife afterwards. I will have living expenses for a month or two next." You bloodthirsty fanatic! It has no fighting ability, why do you still want to kill it? When Yan Tialong walked towards the blonde beauty, the young man female wearing a knight armor with a dissatisfied and questioning tone to Yan Tialong who passed by her asked. When Yan Tialong heard the question from the young man in knight armor women, he stopped and looked deeply at the young man in knight armor and said, "Boy, have you read a lot of knight novels? And I don't think you are suitable here, so come back to you. It is the right choice for you to continue to be your nobleman in the big city. I want to duel with you." The young man in knight armor female was angry when he heard Yan Tialong's words, took off his gloves and threw it at Yan Tialong and shouted loudly. "Hee, when are you going to deal with more than 3 green-skinned horned beasts by yourself? Come and fight with me, I'm not interested in ravaging rookies, but a noble boy with pure white hands like you should not be able to reach that level." Such a degree. Yan Tialong picked up the armored gloves on the ground, and paid attention to the white and flawless hands of the young man in the knight armor female, then smiled and threw the gloves back to the young man in the knight armor female said. "You." The young man in knight armor looked at Yan Tialong and had nothing to say. After all, she also knew that her strength was far from the rude adventurer in front of her. Yan Tialong suddenly saw an unknown little red flower on the ground, so he picked it directly and came to the beautiful adventurer, sent the little red flower to the beautiful adventurer and said, "Lady Beauty, this flower is very suitable for you, hope you'll like it." "Thank you." The mature blonde beauty who was called Antlan by the young man women in knight armor took the little red flower, sniffed the little red flower lightly, and thanked with a smiling smile. Yan Tialong saw the beautiful woman in front of him and showed a bright smile. A wolf appeared in his heart and kept roaring, and he asked the beautiful woman in front of him with a very gentlemanly appearance, "Beautiful lady, I don't know what I just proposed, are you willing? Accept my invitation." "Sorry. I'm not interested in immature boys, thank you for the flower." The young man wearing knight armor called Antlan looked at Yan Tialong's very gentleman's expression and turned serious and returned the little red flower to Yan Tialong. "Leave and walk towards the convoy." "Tialong! Tialong!" When Yan Tialong heard the words of the beautiful woman in his heart, the big red heart in his heart shattered to the ground. At the same time, his appearance was beaten into the same way as petrochemical. He didn't even hear his name being called. Deserving it. The young man female in knight armor passed by Yan Tialong and saw him gloating like this. "Xiao Nan! Bring me the water bag." Seeing that no matter how much he called, Comedes called to his teammates without any response. "Uncle Comedes, your water bag." The young man called Zionan got the water bag in the Comedes mule animal car, quickly came to Comedes, and handed the water bag to Comedes. "Uncle Comedes, what's wrong with him?" The young man called Xiaonan pointed at Yan Tialong, who was motionless. Comedes opened the water bag, heard Xiaonan's question and said, "Ah, he just made an old problem, just wait a moment." "That's it, Uncle Comedes." Cometes directly drank a large sip of water and sprayed it at Yan Tialong, who was in the statue. Yan Tialong woke up and asked Cometes, looking at him. Seeing that Yan Tialong was awake or in a daze, Cometes said directly, "Is Tialong awake? Don't be dazed here when he is awake, we should set off." "Oh, I'll come." Yan Tialong replied in a daze. "Here. This is your trophy." When Yan Tialong got on the mule animal cart, Cometes said to Yan Tialong's green blood-stained cloth bag, "The spoils." Yan Tialong opened the bag suspiciously. "Here, these are the horned teeth of the green-skinned horned beast." Yan Tialong looked at the 6 teeth with green blood Indiana the bag. "Well, I asked you to take these down for you. Have you been rejected again?" Cometes asked while driving the mule animal cart. "Uncle Cometes, do you think I'm really immature at all?" Yan Tialong tied his bag and asked when he heard Cometes' question. Cometes heard Yan Tialong's questioning and looked at Yan Tialong carefully and said, "Tialong, why are you asking this?" Yan Tialong said with a slightly awkward expression, "Someone said I was immature just now, so I want to ask if I am really that immature." "Haha, did that blonde beauty say that to you just now?" Cometes asked with a smile when he heard Yan Tialong's words. Yan Tialong nodded and replied, "Yes." "What did she say about me?" "Tialong, don't care what that girl says, you should enjoy your youth, not whether you are mature. You must know that time cannot be reversed, maturity will become more mature with age, and you will also become more mature. Like uncle, I am very envious of your youthful vigor, and I feel that sometimes Tialong, you are mature for your age." Cometes persuaded with a smile. "Uncle Cometes, thank you for explaining, I'm much better." Yan Tialong said this forcefully, but he thought in his heart, "Then what is going on with my body now, you must know before I cross this world. I'm 26 years old, and I've been through another world for 3 years now, but I'm really 29 years old. But no one will believe me when I look like I'm 19 years old now." "Aunt Lan, you have another despicable guy bowing down to your pomegranate skirt." At the same time, in a mule animal car behind Yan Tialong and their mule animal car rode. "Hehe, if she takes off your helmet, with your charm, I guarantee that the magic swordsman just now will also bow down to your pomegranate skirt." Aunt Lan said to her niece with a smile. "Humph! I don't want that despicable guy to bow down under my skirt." The young man female in knight armor snorted coldly. "Aya, how did that magic swordsman offend our little beauty, and she still hasn't calmed down, can you tell Aunt Lan?" Aunt Lan asked her niece with a smile. "Humph! It's not that despicable guy, yet he didn't listen to my kind reminder, and he had to kill the green-skinned horn-tooth beast that had lost its ability to fight," said the young man female in knight armor angrily. "Shite, are you sure that the magic swordsman will not attack the green-skinned horned beast that has fainted?" Aunt Lan asked her niece's expression from a smile to a serious expression. The young man female in the knight armor was a little puzzled by the change in Aunt Lan's expression, but she still said angrily, "I said so, but that despicable guy also said that I am not suitable for this place, so let me go back to the big city and continue to work." "Noble son! It's so irritating. Shite, that magic swordsman is right. If you are thinking so simply, I will take you back." Aunt Lan looked at her niece very seriously and said. "Lan, Aunt Lan even said that to you?" The young man women in knight armor looked at Aunt Lan in surprise and couldn't believe it. "Hey!" Shui Lan looked at her niece with a hint of helplessness and sighed. Her tone became more serious than ever before and said, "I originally thought that our trip this time will make you feel different from the academy and the castle life, so that you can know more about the outside world. But my thoughts are too simple, Shite, you have not experienced the cruelty of the outside world, it is too simple to be protected by everyone all the time, you actually let that magic swordsman let go of the green-skinned horned beast, you know. Why did our flying dragon kingdom build the Bostro fortress?" Shui Lan looked at the young man in knight armor, women, shook his head and continued, when there was no Postro fortress, the green-skinned horn-toothed beast often ran into the land belonging to the Dragon Kingdom to attack villages, cities. It grabs villagers for their food, and they like to eat children the most, you know. Aunt Lan, can't we communicate with those green-skinned horn-toothed beasts? We can exchange food for peace. The young man in knightly armor female heard that green-skinned horn-toothed beasts eat villagers and most like to eat children's clothes. Shocked didn't believe that Greenskin was so savage and came up with his own beautiful plan. The green-skinned horn-toothed beast cannot communicate with us humans at all. This is the conclusion that the famous scholars and powerful magicians of Xingyu continent have used various methods to come to the conclusion that they cannot communicate with the green-skinned horn-toothed beast at all. And they came to another conclusion that green-skinned horns like to eat our human flesh very much. Shetty Lan looked very serious at her innocent niece and told her that green-skinned horns couldn't communicate at all, and told her that the green ceratops likes to eat human flesh very much. Ah! The young man in knight armor, female, heard Aunt Lan's words and cried out involuntarily. When the caravan man heard the voice of the young man in knight armor, female, he asked in confusion, "That's it, Your Excellency adventurer?" Shetty Lan looked at the injured team and said with a smile, "Sorry. Just now, my nephew was too surprised to hear my previous adventures, so he couldn't help crying out. It turns out that it is. Beautiful lady, this is normal, we often hear some adventurers' legendary accidents and can't help but cry out with emotion. I just hope you can tell stories in your rest time or in the town, beautiful lady. Otherwise, we won't be able to stand being surprised by you." The caravan's people immediately lost their temper and said patiently when they saw the charming Xue Dialan, "I'm really sorry, we'll pay attention." Xue Dialan said apologetically to the people in the caravan. "Well, that's fine, beautiful lady, if you have anything to look for, I'll call you Kai Tumian." The Kai Tumian businessman was confused by Aunt Lan's very sincere apology and her own charm. Meet Basu stammered a little. "Okay, if I have any trouble, I will definitely come to you." Xue Dialan politely thanked the businessman Chi Tumian. "Lady Mimi, I won't bother you now." Kai Tumian businessman and gentleman said to Aunt Lan and left the mule animal car of Xue Dialan and the others, but Xue Dialan and the others didn't think of Kai Tumian. The merchant went back to his mule animal car to find a gift for her. "Haha, Aunt Lan is so charming. Another person is bowing down to your pomegranate skirt." The young man-woman in knight armor looked at the businessman leaving and hugged his aunt and said enviously with a smile, "I hope there won't be any more trouble." Xue Dialan said, but she was not as happy as her niece imagined, but said with a worried face, but Xue Dialan didn't expect that when she was resting for a while, the trouble is just beginning. Not long after, at 12 o'clock noon, Comettes led the mule beast convoy to leave the battlefield just an hour away from the 10 km road, and stopped to rest. Xue Dialan did not expect that when she started to rest, several businessmen and several new guards ran up to her to court her diligently and boldly. "Tialong, that charming and beautiful girl is in a bit of trouble now, why don't you help her?" Comettes watched Yan Taixiang nibbling on the black bread but stared straight at the mature and charming Xue Dialan asked with a smile. "Forget it, I was rejected by a lady before, and I don't want to have a hot face and a cold butt." Yan Tialong was choked by Comettes' words and hurriedly took a sip of water and said after a while, "Hee, Tialong, if you like that charming woman so much, you should be thick-skinned and pursue her again. If you shrink back and watch her here, you may miss the good girl in your heart because of your cowardice. You will regret it later." Comettes encouraged and reminded Yan Tialong. "Uncle Comettes, you're right. I'm going to attack the beauties right now." Yan Tialong heard Comettes' words and felt that what he said was very reasonable, so he encouraged his courage and decided. "Tialong, wait a minute." Comettes stopped the battle Yan Tialong who was about to come forward to love. Yan Taixiang was stopped by Comettes and asked curiously, "Uncle Comettes, what's the matter with you?" Yan Tialong, Don't you still know the name of that beauty? Comedies asked. Yan Tailong hesitated for a moment, then said awkwardly, this. Tailong, tell uncle honestly, have you ever pursued girls? Comedies asked Yan Taixiang, who was shy and didn't say why, and became serious. How is this possible? I am fascinated by thousands of girls, how is it possible? Well, Uncle Comedies, you won, I did chase girls first. Yan Tailong was quibbling at first, but Comedies' serious eyes I couldn't stand it and admitted that this was the first time I was chasing a girl. Since it's the first time you're chasing girls, Uncle, I'm going to teach you some secrets to chasing girls. Comedies told Yan Tailong the secrets of chasing girls and pleasing girls. And something happened on Aunt Lan's side. I don't know what Aunt Lan said with a smile that caused the people who had just been gallant in front of her to disperse as if they were hit. Uncle Comedies, I'm lost in love. Comedies, who was excitedly telling Yan Tailong the secrets of pursuing a girl, was suddenly interrupted by a frustrated tone. What's the matter with you, Xiao Nan? Comedies looked in the direction of the voice, and asked concerned about his friend's junior looking depressed. By the way, Tailong is the son of a former good brother named Boyang Nan. He is now helping in my shop. Comedies introduced Yan Tailong. Xiao Nan, this is the Yan Tailong I often tell you. Comedies introduced Yan Tailong to the depressed Boyang Nan. It turns out that you are the big brother Yan Tailong who is often mentioned by Uncle Comedies. When Boyang Nan heard Comedies' introduction, he came to Yan Tailong and said excitedly. Seeing the excitement in Boyang Nan's eyes, Yan Tailong touched his head and said, Haha, Uncle Comedies, it's really surprising that he would actually praise me. Cough. Cough. Comedies coughed when he heard Yan Tailong and asked Boyang Nan, what's wrong with you? Hi. Boyang Nan sighed when he heard Comedies' question and said, Uncle Comedies, I was about to show my love to Miss Shwedie Lan just now, but she was turned off by her. If you make a condition, you will just give up your courtship of her. It turns out that her name is Shwedie Lan. Shwedie Lan. Yan Tailong knew that what he just said was the name of the mature and charming female adventurer when he heard Boyang Nan's words. I kept reciting it silently, wanting to record this name in my heart. When Comedies heard what Boyang Nan said, he saw Yan Tailong lowered his head and muttered, why did he ask, which Shwedie Lan from Boyang Nan proposed what conditions for you to give up without courtship? Uncle Comedies, Miss Shwedie Lan offered 3 conditions, and only when she met her 3 conditions would she agree to have a look, and it is precisely these 3 conditions that I may not be able to meet in my life, so I will just give up. Boyang Nan said. Oh! Boyang Nan, what are the 3 conditions that Miss Shwedie Lan opened? Comedies asked again, and Yan Tailong also pricked up his ears and listened carefully to what Boyang Nan had to say. 3 conditions of content. Boyang Nan noticed that Yan Tailong didn't care what he looked like on the surface, but in his eyes, he was about to say the content of the conditions offered by Shwedie Lan, and he already understood that Uncle Comedies was asking for him. There was a trace of jealousy in his heart, but he smiled and said, Miss Shwedie Lan said, the strength of the first senior soldier. When Yan Taixiang heard the first point, he muttered to himself with a relaxed expression, this is simple, my own strength exceeds that of an advanced warrior. Second point, Yu reading www.yuyuganshu.com must have a title of nobility. Noble title, there's nothing wrong with this, but it will take some time. Yan Taixiang murmured inwardly when he heard the second point. The third point, and I think the most difficult, that is the hero recognized by the kingdom. Uncle Comedies, you said this, how many people in the whole country are heroes recognized by the country? Platinum Eagle Banner asked Kemidiko after finishing his 3 demands. Well, there are only 2 or 3 heroes who can be recognized by the state now, and they are all about 40 years old. The request of Miss Shwedie Lan is almost impossible at the same age, but at her level it's not too much for the beautiful woman to make these demands, but it should be difficult for her to marry herself. Comedes nodded and admitted when he heard the third point. But Yan Tialong was annoyed in his heart, the title of hero. And being recognized by the state, this is not something that can be obtained in a short time. If I had come to this world 10 years earlier, I should have this title now. Tialong, you still give up pursuing Miss Xue Dialan, she won't like us rough people. Comedes looked at Yan Tialong with his head down, not knowing what he wanted to do, so he persuaded him to give up pursuing Xue Dai road. Ah! Uncle Comedes, I didn't hear what you said just now. Could you say it again? Yan Tialong was too careful about what he was thinking, and asked Comedico before he could hear clearly what he said. Road. Hehe, it's fine if you don't hear clearly. Comedes shook his head as he looked at Yan Tialong, who was a little confused, and then instructed Boyang Ki Nan, who was beside him. Now everyone is almost resting. Boyang Ki Nan informs everyone, ready to go. After a while, the convoy continued to move towards Gaihu town. After 2 hours of walking in Yan Tialong's mule beast convoy, they finally saw the gate of the town that looked like a small fortress in front of them. When entering the ancient feather town, Comedes said to the beautiful adventurer of Xue Dialan and her niece with the remaining commission and 2 letters proving that they had completed the task, I am here to thank you on behalf of the caravan. This time the mission. This letter is a proof that you have completed the task well this time. You can collect your credit points for your good completion of the task at the Green Yukian Tavern, Sword and Shield Tavern and Rose Gold Red Tavern in Gaihu Town. There will be opportunities for cooperation next time. Xue Dialan and her niece took the commissions and letters to thank the Comedy adventurers and said, Your Excellency Comedes, thank you for taking care of you all the way, and hope to have another chance to cooperate next time. Comedes returned the salute to Xue Dialan, and finally said to the caravan, disband and go home. Miss Xue Dialan, please wait. Xue Dialan was about to take her niece to leave when she heard Yan Tialong calling to stop her. Your Excellency Yan Tialong, what's the matter with you? Xue Dialan asked, looking at Yan Tialong who was holding them on their way. Yan Tialong began to hesitate when he saw the words of the girl who made his heart move to his lips. Your Excellency Yan Tialong, if you have nothing to do, then we will leave first. Xue Dialan said directly looking at Yan Tialong's hesitant look. Miss Xue Dialan, please give me a little time, I will definitely become the hero in your heart. Yan Tialong shouted with courage when he heard that the woman in his heart was about to leave. Then Yan Tialong walked towards the Liu Yukian Tavern without looking back, regardless of Xue Dialan and the others who were shocked by his courtship, as well as the stunned Comedes and Platinum Eagle banner. Tialong, don't go so fast, wait for us. Comedes returned to his senses and got on the mule animal car and shouted to Yan Tialong in front. Uncle Comedes, wait for me. Platinum Eagle banner saluted Xue Dialan in the south and got on his mule animal car and shouted to Comedes who ignored him. Aunt Lan, that rude guy dares to say such a big thing in front of you, I really don't know this guy. The young man female wearing a knight armor said with dissatisfaction, but the expression on his face under the hidden helmet was to himself. Auntie envious. Xue Dialan looked at her niece and suddenly said solemnly, Shi Ti, you have to remember that Yan Tialong who loves me loudly in such a place, then he will definitely be the hero in my heart. Take action. I don't know if he can become a hero of the kingdom, but I don't allow you to call him in derogatory terms. The young man female in knight armor was obviously frightened by what her Aunt Lan said solemnly, but she still asked weakly, then, that rude guy Yan Tialong really became the hero of the kingdom, Aunt Lan, do you really want to marry him? Xue Dialan heard her niece's words with a smile on her face, Hehe, I said before, I don't dare to be interested in immature teenagers, and even if your Excellency Yan Tialong becomes a hero of the kingdom, he can't become a hero in my mind, because I already have one in my heart. A young man in knight armor, female, heard his Aunt Lan's words, and asked a series of surprises. Lan, Aunt Lan, who is the hero in your heart, do I know that person? Shady A Lan said to her niece with a grinning smile and a secret, hee, this is my secret, I won't tell you. If Yan Tailong was allowed to see Shui A Lan's cute expression now, he would definitely howl. On Yan Tailong's side, Committees drove the Mulu animal cart to Yan Tailong and asked, Tailong, is what you just said true? Do you want to become a nobleman and a hero of the country? Yes. Yan Tailong stopped and nodded to Committees seriously and admitted. Tailong, do you know that it is very difficult for us commoners to become a noble, let alone a hero recognized by the state? And didn't you say you want to organize a mercenary group? Do you really have this energy? Committees said in succession. Hee, there is no conflict between Uncle Committees' organization of mercenaries and becoming a hero of the kingdom. Maybe I will become a hero of the kingdom in the future. By then, Uncle Committees, you can't be surprised and drop your chin. Yan Tailong confidence said to Committees. Hee, if there is a day, I will not be surprised to drop my chin. Instead, I will let everyone know that the heroes of the kingdom are taught by me. When that time comes, think about how lively my tavern is. Committees said with a smile when he heard Yan Tailong's confident words. Haha, Uncle Committees will definitely have that day. Yan Tailong said with a smile. By the way, Uncle Committees, I don't know if it's my illusion. I feel that everyone in the town is very strange, but I can't tell what is strange. Yan Tailong suddenly said to the Mulu animal car. Committees asked. N. Tailong, you probably haven't been in Gaihu town for 2 years. The changes here make you a little uncomfortable. Committees looked at Yan Tailong and said perfunctorily. Uncle Committees insisted that I've been away from Gaihu town for 2 years. There are indeed many people who don't know each other, but the residents of the town feel very strange to me now. They don't have the same relaxed and upward feeling after being reborn. Yan Tailong wrinkled said with a brow. Tailong, your observation skills are getting sharper and sharper. Committees praised Yan Tailong. Uncle Nakmates, can you tell me if something is going to happen in the town? Yan Tailong asked. I ask you, Iron Dragon, do you know anything about the Greenskin invasion? Committees asked with a serious expression while driving the Mulu animal cart. Greenskin invasion. Could there be a greenskin invasion this year? Yan Tailong asked with a surprised expression when he heard Committees talk about the greenskin invasion. Well, as far as I know, there is a high probability that there will be a greenskin invasion this year. After all, it has been 3 years since the last invasion. By the way, the year you just came to the town, didn't you think that our town was very dilapidated? Committees exclaimed in astonishment. Greenskin invasion incident, this refers to the green-skinned goblins and green-skinned horned beasts living on the 2nd and 3rd floors being transported to the 1st floor ruins by space turbulence, and these green-skinned goblins and green-skinned horns-toothed beasts form massive scales to attack the country's outposts, towns, and villages around the ruins and fortress walls that defend them. So now everyone is strengthening their houses, which can be said why you feel that the atmosphere is a bit wrong. Committees continued to see Yan Tailong's thoughtful look. Uncle Nakmates, how did you defend the town during the greenskin invasion 3 years ago? Yan Taixiang wanted to know the information about the town's defense against the greenskin invasion 3 years ago. If you want to know that the town was so resistant to greenskin 3 years ago, then you should help me move the goods of the Mulu animal car into the tavern and talk. Committees stopped the Mulu animal car and said to Yan Tailong. When Yan Tailong heard Committees' words, he looked at the Liu Yuqian tavern with a big wooden wine glass sign on the street on the right, and said, I didn't expect to go to the tavern while talking. Okay, don't talk nonsense, come and help. Committees reminded him when he got off the Mulu animal car and saw that Yan Tailong was still in a daze. Yes. I'm here to help. After Yan Tailong responded, he came to the back of the Mulu animal car to help. Tailong, do you really have no problem? Committees asked uneasy about Yan Tailong's requirement to carry 4 bags at a time, and each bag of wine yeast weighed 100 catties. Hee, Uncle Committees, this weight was impossible to move in the past, but it's not too heavy for me now. Yan Tailong said with a clear expression and carried the wine yeast to the warehouse of Liu Yuqian Tavern. Go. Uncle Committees, is that the big brother Yan Tailong just now? Boyang Qinan, who came over, saw Yan Tailong carrying 4 bags of wine yeast and thought that there was something wrong with his eyes, so he asked Committees. Well, I just didn't expect to see him for 2 years, his power growth is so amazing. Committees nodded and admitted that it was Yan Tailong just now, and was surprised at the growth of Yan Tailong's power. Uncle Committees, didn't big brother Yan Tailong have such great strength before? Asked Boyang Qinan. Hee, this guy Tailong just came to our town, his power is even smaller than yours, I thought he was a noble boy who knew nothing at the time. It's just that I didn't expect to get along with him for a year. His growth really surprised me. However, his current strength is more than 1 or 2 times stronger than 2 years ago. Committees introduced Yan Tailong's previous strength and strength growth. Uncle Committees, what are you talking about at Boyang Qinan? Yan Tailong asked when he came to the Mulu animal cart from the tavern warehouse and looked at Committees and Boyang Qinan. Tailong, we are talking about your former strength and your strength now becoming stronger. Committees said. Yan Tailong thought to himself when he heard Kemidiko's words, my strength has grown so much, I think it should be related to the blood of the dragon. Tailong, come help. Yan Tailong was thinking about something when he heard Committees urgently shout. Uncle Committees, what's the situation? Yan Tailong asked in confusion when he saw the Platinum Eagle banner carrying 3 packs of nearly 300 kilograms of goods on his back. This little guy Boyang Qinan is over his own power. He thought he was very powerful, and he has become what he is now. Seeing Boyang Qinan's painful expression, Committees explained worriedly. Brother Yan Tailong, hurry up, come and help, I can't hold on anymore. Boyang Qinan called out to Yan Taixiang for help because of the heavy weight on his back, sweating all over his head. Yan Tailong saw that Boyang Qinan was really unable to hold on, so he quickly picked up the goods on Boyang Qinan's back and said, Boyang Qinan, leave it to me here, you can rest aside. It hurts. It hurts. Boyang Qinan really cried as he touched the back pain. Come on, Platinum Eagle Banner South, go to the tavern for a rest. Committees hurriedly supported the Platinum Eagle Banner South Road, whose waist was injured due to the weight. Yan Tailong moved all the goods of the second car Mulu animal car into the warehouse of the tavern by himself, and finally wiped the sweat on his forehead and came to the counter and said to Committees, Uncle Committees, I have already put Mulu. All the goods of the Lu animal cart have been moved into the warehouse. Committees heard that Yan Tailong had moved all the goods on the Mulu animal car into the warehouse of the tavern, so he opened the lid of the small wine barrel on the counter, shook a large glass of ale in front of Yan Tailong and thanked, Tailong, thank you. If it weren't for you, I would have missed the peak season of the tavern. Come and drink a ale to quench my thirst. Yan Tailong was indeed a little thirsty, so he picked up the ale, drank it with a big mouth, and finally put down half of the wooden cup of ale and said loudly, it's really cool to be able to drink this kind of ale after labor. Committees was also very happy to see Yan Tailong's contented look, and at the same time he reminded Yan Tailong of Yan Tailong's mission and the horned teeth of the green-skin horned beast, and reminded Yan Tailong, by the way, Tailong, put your adventure badge and green-skinned horned tooth. Give me the horns of the ceratops. Yan Tailong heard that Committees wanted his adventure badge and the horns of the green-skinned horned beast. He didn't even think about it, so he handed it to him and said, Here, Uncle Committees. Tailong, you have completed such a little task in 2 years. Kemidiko inserted Yan Tailong's adventure badge into the special alchemy machine. The special alchemy machine showed C, 6 points, D, 43 points, and E, 66 points. He frowned and said, each task completes 1 point, and if the task fails, 2 points are deducted. System prompt: the current Sacred Mark mercenaries have completed C, 6 times, D, 55 times, E, 71 times, and failed missions D, 6 times, E, 2 times. You now have a total of 13,181 points. E, equal to 100 points, D, equal to 1,000 points, C, equal to 10,000 points, B, equal to 100,000 points, A, equal to 1 million points, S, equal to 10 million points. This is the protagonist participating in the task, and his brain system increases the task points he has obtained. Of course, in the future, if the protagonist does not participate in the mission, and if a member of his mercenary group completes the mission, the protagonist will get 1% of the deduction points. Please use the items in your points heart. When Yan Tialong Nao saw that E, 66 became 67 in Committee's hands, suddenly appeared in his head, D, 55 becomes D, 56. Introduction to the protagonist system. Points can be used to exchange from 100 points of sackcloth production drawings to 10 billion sky fortresses and artifact production drawings of the same points. Of course, there are also magic and fighting chi skill books, but he has no real objects created out of thin air. He can only rely on make it yourself or draw the drawings in your head for others to make. Iron Dragon! Iron Dragon! Committees shouted to Yan Tialong, who was in a daze. Uncle Committees, is that so? Yan Tialong, who had recovered from his mind, asked Committees, who was calling out to him. Tialong, it seems that your old problem has been committed again. Here it is. The adventure badge is collected. By the way, the horns of your green-skinned horned beast will wait for you to exchange the bounty for you, and it may be given to you later. Committees shook his head helplessly and put Yan Tialong's adventure badge in front of Yan Tialong. Hee, it's all right, it'll be a little later. By the way, what happened to Boying Chi Nan? Yan Tialong took back his adventure badge, and when he heard Committee's words, he didn't care about the horn-tooth bounty of the green-skinned horn-tooth beast. Instead, he asked about Boying Chi Nan's physical condition. Puying Chi Nan, he hurt his waist. I asked him to rest first. I'll go to the pharmacy to buy some medicine to wipe him, it should be fine soon. Committees said. Oh, Uncle Committees, if I have nothing to do, I will go first. Yan Tialong drank the ale in one breath when he heard Committee's words and forgot about the greenskin invasion 3 years ago. Ask, get up and say. Tialong, wait a minute, don't be in such a hurry. Committees stopped Yan Tialong, who was about to leave. Yan Tialong asked Committees, who stopped her, Uncle Committees, what else is there? I remember on the way you said you were going to organize a mercenary group, right? Committees asked. When Yan Tialong heard Committees asking him to organize a mercenary group, he nodded and responded, yes. Seeing Yan Tialong nodding in response, Committees continued, then you should remember, I said at the time that I had someone recommend it to you. When Yan Tialong heard that Committees wanted to recommend someone, he guessed, well, Uncle Committees, you won't tell me, the person you want to recommend is Boying Chi Nan, right? Committees heard Yan Tialong's guess and denied it directly, how could it be that kid? The person I mentioned should be in Kirimisi's hotel now. Aunt Kirimis. Uncle Committees, you should know that Aunt Kirimis hates me very much. If you want her to recruit people at her hotel, I'm afraid she will kick her out. Yan Tialong heard the name Limis was troublesome. Don't worry, the person I mentioned owes Kirimis a fee for accommodation and treatment. As long as you help that person pay for the accommodation, I don't think Kirimis will drive you out. But I am very curious about the fact that Kirimis, who treated you as her own child, suddenly changed her attitude towards you at that time, and even forced you to leave Guyu town. Why is this? Committees was very curious about why Yan Tialong was kicked out of the hotel by Chi Limisi 2 years ago, and he wanted to know the real reason why Yan Tailong left Gaihu town. Yan Tailong returned to his previous seat and picked up the empty wine glass. He sighed and said, "Hi, it's not because of Aunt Kirimasi's daughter. Tailong, you didn't shoot that little girl Ai Shwet, did you?" Comedes asked with a shocked expression when he heard Yan Tailong's words. Yan Tailong heard Comedes' wild speculation and denied it directly. "How is this possible? I just treat Sister Chi Li Igzu as my own sister, how could I attack her? If I really did take action against Sister Chi Li Igzu, Uncle Comedes, do you think I can still stand here intact? What you said makes sense. It should be easy to take care of you with Kirimi's strength, but what did you do to make Kirimis hate you so much?" When Medes heard Yan Tailong's words and remembered that Kirimis had the strength of a swordsman, he agreed and asked. "Isn't there a time when Kiri Ash was poisoned by a snake in the forest? I helped her to out the snake venom." Note: do not learn to snake venom with your mouth in the novel, it will cause yourself to be poisoned, which was read by Aunt Kirimis. "So I thought I was bullying Kiri Ash. At that time, I was severely repaired, and since then Aunt Kirimis didn't want to see me anymore." Yan Tailong couldn't figure out that he had rescued Sister Chi Li Igzu, but Aunt Chi Li Missy just didn't want to see him. "Hehe, it turns out that this misunderstanding caused your relationship to become so bad. Tailong, why don't you explain it?" Comedes asked with a sigh of relief when he heard Yan Tailong's words. "I think Sister Chi Li Igzu will explain to Aunt Chi Li Mises, and I don't want to be beaten again by Aunt Chi Li Miss who is misunderstood. At the same time, I also want to change my mood and go on a trip." Yan Tailong went down. "I answered Comedes' question according to my mood at the time." Comedes heard Yan Tailong's words and whispered to himself, no wonder since Tailong left Gaihu town, the relationship between Chi Li and the two mother and daughter has become so bad. It turned out that Chi Li Missy misunderstood Tailong and Ai. "It's snowing." Yan Tailong looked at Comedes muttering to himself and asked, "Uncle Comedes, what are you muttering?" Cough. "Well, Tailong, you went to the Ro Hotel and waited for me. When I buy medicine for Boyang Ki Nan, I will go to the Ro Hotel to find you and introduce the expert I mentioned." Comedes changed the subject. Said, "Okay, since what Uncle Comedes said, I'll go to the Ro Hotel." Yan Tailong responded, and then walked towards the door of the tavern. "Hey! Just wait until you get to the Ro Hotel, I hope you won't be kicked out by Aunt Kirimasi." Yan Tailong thought worriedly as he walked down the town street. Yan Tailong looked at the Ro Hotel, the largest hotel in Gaihu town in front of him. He was hesitating whether to enter or not. Finally, he made up his mind to sneak up to the hotel door and carefully open the hotel door to look inside. When he found the hotel there was no Aunt Kirimis there, so she said with a sigh of relief, "It seems that Aunt Kirimis is not here." The young girl who was cleaning in the hotel suddenly found Yan Tailong who was sneaking up, so she picked up the sweeper nervously, and asked loudly, "Who is it?" "Sister Yumi Lily is me, your big brother Yan Tailong." Yan Tailong said to the girl in the maid costume. You are big brother Yan Tailong?" Yumi Lily asked in surprise when she heard Yan Tailong's words and saw the more mature Yan Tailong group than 2 years ago. Yan Tailong came to Yumi Lily, looked around, and asked in a low voice, "Sister Yumi Lily, is Aunt Kirimis here?" Giggle, "Big brother Yan Tailong, please rest assured that our Aunt Missy is not here now. Aunt Missy is now buying ingredients from the vendor." Yumi Lily giggled when she saw Yan Tailong's cautious look. "It's fine if you're not here," Yan Tailong said with a sigh of relief when he heard Yumi Lily. It seems that what happened to Aunt Missy back then really caused a lot of shadows on big brother Yan Tailong. Yumi Lily thought to herself when she saw Yan Tailong's expression when she heard that Chi Limisi was not there. Yumi Lily couldn't bear Yan Tailong to continue, but she accepted the fear and reminded, "Brother Yan Tailong, in fact, Aunt Missy is no longer angry with you, you don't have to do this." Is little sister Yumi Lily real? Yan Tailong confirmed unexpectedly when Yumi Lily said that Aunt Kilemis forgave him. Yes. Yumi Lily nodded, making Yan Tailong feel that what she said was true. When Yan Tailong saw Yumi Lily, he relaxed and said, "Oh, that's great. You reading www.yuyugonshu.com. By the way, Sister Yumi Lily, I want to visit the place where I used to live. I don't know if I can." Yan Tailong suggested to Yumi Lily that he wanted to see the room he used to live in. Okay, anyway, the old residence has been set up as a restricted area by Aunt Missy, and there are no guests. Yumi Lily agreed. Yan Tailong said goodbye to Yumi Lily, walked out of the front desk of the hotel to the small central garden, took a few steps forward and saw the old house in front of him that was different from the previous one and said to himself, "This place is really nostalgic." What? When Yan Tailong was thinking about his previous life, a handsome young man walked out of the new hotel house on the left. When he saw Yan Tailong entering the old hotel, he raised his brows and said to himself, "Aunt Chilimisi is not here, why is it?" A thief ran into the restricted area that Aunt Kilimeth said to steal, and see how I deal with him. Nothing has changed here. Yan Tailong came to the room where he lived 2 years ago and sighed when he saw that the furnishings in the room were exactly the same as when he left. Just when Yan Tailong was sighing about the house he used to live in, the handsome young man who just thought Yan Tailong was a thief came to the door of the old house. When Yan Tailong was pondering what happened here 2 years ago, he didn't notice that someone had already searched the house on the first floor, and had already searched the second floor, and was about to search his room. Boom! Boom! A handsome young man in the corridor accidentally knocked off a portrait of an unknown celebrity hanging on the wall, and the sound of things falling made Yan Tailong regain his clarity from his contemplation. At the same time, he thought it was when Aunt Kirimis came back. She hid in the big closet in her room when she didn't want to touch her brow. Hey! So it's not Aunt Kirimis, but a man. I haven't seen him before, could it be that he's a thief who came in? Yan Tailong, who was hiding in the closet, saw through the crack of the closet door before he opened the door. At the door of the room, a man he didn't know whispered in a low voice. Seeing the handsome young man closing the door again, Yan Tailong cautiously walked out of the big closet, with a hint of excitement on his face, and whispered, "Hee, I count you as unlucky, so I will treat you as a greeting to Aunt Kirimisi." Yan Tailong carefully opened the door, and just showed his head just before the door, when suddenly he saw a fist that kept expanding. Yan Tailong wanted to avoid the fist, but unfortunately it was too late. In the end, Yan Tailong was directly hit by the fist in the right eye, causing a purple circle in his right eye. It turned out that the handsome young man opened Yan Tailong's room and found traces of someone walking on the floor, but he didn't see anyone, so he exited the room in order not to startle the snake, and ambushed him outside the door, thinking it was the thief Yan Tailong. As expected by the handsome young man, when Yan Tailong opened the door and sneakily stuck his head out, the handsome young man didn't give Yan Tailong a chance to react at all and punched Yan Tailong in the right eye. Yan Tailong was very uncomfortable when his right eye was hit, but he endured the uncomfortable situation in his right eye and punched back the attacker. The handsome young man was a little surprised that Yan Tailong was not knocked down by himself, and in response to Yan Tailong's punch, he directly defended Yan Tailong's punch. It's just a pity that the handsome young man misestimated Yan Tailong's strength, and was directly kicked back by Yan Tailong, hitting the wall opposite the corridor. It's very powerful. The handsome young man felt a slight pain in the arm defending Yan Tailong's attack, and said with a serious expression, then raised his right hand to attack Yan Tailong. At the same time, Yan Tailong scolded secretly, "Damn! He actually attacked the uncle, I let you know what Huarhong is," and punched the opponent. When the fists of the two collided, the handsome young man stepped back a few steps directly by the power from the fist, while Yan Tailong only took a step back and saw the opponent retreating farther than himself, and smiled complacently, "Haha, Dare to follow, I'm really courting death compared to strength, and I don't even look at who your opponent is. The handsome young man waved his right hand to relieve the pain. When he heard Yan Tailong's words, he took out the iron sword from his waist and slashed at Yan Tailong. Damn it! You can't fight melee, but it's a shame to actually use a sword. Yan Tailong dodged the opponent's slash and scolded. Yan Tailong, who escaped the opponent's swordsmanship in an embarrassed manner, hurriedly pulled out his sword to block the opponent's pursuit, and the two swords collided to produce a ping. Yan Tailong's strength is better than his opponent's, and the handsome young man used his swordsmanship to guide Yan Tailong's sword to slash the left wall and punch Yan Tailong's flank with a left punch. Yan Tailong endured the pain in his flank and swept his sword to force the handsome young man to return to the offensive style, allowing himself to resume defense and at the same time let his previously exposed weaknesses disappear. When the handsome young man quickly attacked Yan Tailong muttered while defending. With the last sword, he forced his opponent away and shouted, "Wind blade!" Yan Tailong formed a magic circle with his left hand, and the magic circle shot out more than a dozen wind blades towards the handsome young man. The blade smashed directly through the wooden window behind him. The wooden window shards flew out from the second floor of the old hotel to the small garden, and Yumi Lily, who had just arrived in the garden, screamed, "Ah!" frightened by the wooden shards that fell in front of her. In the old hotel, Yan Tailong and the handsome young man were engrossed in each other. They didn't know that their misunderstanding would soon lead to a battle, which eventually led to Yan Tailong's empty wallet for a short time. "It's not good, something happened. You have to inform Aunt Missy as soon as possible." Yumi Lily was surprised to see a lot of movement on the second floor of the old hotel, and she saw that the sword directly cut some gaps in the wall. Then turned around and ran to the previous counter. Yumi Lily ran to the counter, and when she learned that Kirimis had gone to the kitchen, when she was out of breath, she ran to the kitchen and saw Kirimis, who was cooking, chatting with another cook, and said loudly, "Aunt Missy, it's not good, something happened." While chatting, Kirimis suddenly heard Yumi Lily's eager shout, stopped cooking, and looked towards the kitchen door. When she saw Yumi Lily standing panting, she asked in confusion, "Yumi Lily, don't want it. Hurry up, speak slowly if you have something to say." After hearing her aunt's words, Yumi Lily calmed her breath a little, and then said eagerly, "Aunt Missy, there is a fight in the old house, and the old house has been damaged." "Old house? I remember where I have set it as a restricted area, so someone will go to that place." Kirimis wondered when she heard Yumi Lily's words. "Aunt Missy, big brother Yan Tailong just came back, and he entered the old house." Yumi Lily heard her aunt's words and suddenly remembered Yan Tailong entering the old house and said, "Yan Tailong is back. When did this happen?" Kirimis asked hurriedly when she heard the news of Yan Tailong. "Well, just a little bit earlier than Aunt Missy," Yumi Lily replied. "Kumi Weiss, I'll leave it to you here." Kirimis asked to the 30-year-old cook who was cutting meat in the kitchen. "Okay, boss." Cook Kumivs took over the job of Kirimis after she responded. Kirimis and Yumi Lily quickly ran to the old house. At the same time, Yan Tailong and the handsome young man fought from the second floor of the old house to the first floor, and finally from the first floor to the small garden outside the house. Yan Tailong confronted the handsome young man again, but it seemed that Yan Tailong was a little more embarrassed than the handsome young man. That was because Yan Tailong's clothes had been slashed several times by the opponent, and there was a trace of blood, while the handsome young man's clothes were only scratched. Yan Tailong looked at what he thought was a thief in front of him and was surprised by his strength, and at the same time he thought, "Damn! This guy in front of me is not as powerful as me, but his swordsmanship is much better than mine, and he wants to decide the outcome in a short time. It seems impossible." And the handsome young man was not feeling well either. He held the sword because Yan Tailong's power made him tremble, but he hid it well and didn't let Yan Tailong find out. "Ah!" Yan Tailong roared, rushing towards the handsome young man at once. Stop it for me. Yan Tailong rushed halfway and suddenly heard a voice he didn't want to hear, and he was easily blocked by the handsome young man as if his strength disappeared. When his sword was blocked, Yan Tailong quickly backed away to distance himself from the handsome young man, but the handsome young man did not pursue Yan Tailong when he heard Chi Limasi's voice. Whatever you want to see, leave it to me. Kirimis shouted to the surrounding people watching the fun, and the people around seemed to know that Kirimis was so good, and they all dissipated. Yan Tailong, this happened when you first came to me, tell me what happened. Seeing that the crowd was almost scattered, Chi Limasi asked Yan Tailong in a calm tone. Yan Tailong pointed at the handsome young man and said hurriedly to Chi Limasi, "Aunt Chi Limasi," he made the first move, "No. I'm helping you catch the thief." Thief. Yan Tailong, looks like 2 years have passed, and you haven't changed at all. Seeing Yan Tailong pointing at the handsome young man, Chi Limasi said calmly, but her calm tone made Yan Tailong scared. Haha, Aunt Kirimis, you have lost a lot of weight and become more beautiful than before. Yan Tailong said in a flattering tone. Really? What the happened to Ospani? Kirimis responded to Yan Tailong, and then asked the handsome young man. Aunt Kirimis, I didn't know he knew you. This guy sneaked into the restricted area you specified. I thought he was a thief, so I wanted to catch him and fight him. And explained to Kirimis. Both of you said the other party was a thief, do you still think the other party is a thief now? Kirimis asked, looking at Yan Tailong and Osprey, who were a little embarrassed. Aunt Kirimis, we misunderstood. Lord Ospine, I'm so sorry. Yan Tailong responded to Kirimis, and then apologized to Ospine. Your Excellency Yan Tailong, I was too reckless. I shot you before I figured it out. I should apologize to you. Ospine apologized. Since you guys have figured it out, now it's time for me to settle accounts with you. Seeing that Yan Tailong and Ospine had misunderstood each other, Kirimis smiled and said to the two of them. Aunt Kirimis, what's the matter? I don't seem to owe you money. Yan Tailong hurriedly said when he heard Kirimis's words. Yumi Lily, go get me a notepad and a pen. Chi Limis ignored Yan Tailong's words, and Yu Kanshu www.yuyuganshu.com instructed Yumi Lily beside her. Okay, Aunt Missy. After Yumi Lily responded, she ran to the hotel counter. Cough. No one can leave here without permission until Yumi Lily comes back, otherwise they will be at their own risk. Seeing that Yan Tailong was sneaking away, Kilimis coughed and threatened. Hee, Aunt Kirimis, I didn't want to run away, but to go to the toilet. Yan Tailong yelled when he heard Kirimis' threat, knowing that she found out. Do you want to go to the toilet, then you can bear it. If you really can't help it, you can solve it here. Don't worry, I will help you with the aftermath. Kirimasi said in a flat tone, but she felt that Yan Tailong was full of danger. Haha, Aunt Kirimis, I can't help it. When the matter is over, I'm going to solve it. Yan Tailong said embarrassedly. Not long after, Yumi Lily came to Kirimis with a book, a quill pen and a bottle of black ink. She said to Kirimis, Aunt Misty, I brought everything. Yumi Lily, wait for you to record it in your record. Kirimis instructed Yumi Lily. Oh. Okay. Yumi Lily was stunned when she heard Kirimis's order, but she still agreed. Yan Tailong, I heard committees say that you want to organize a mercenary group. At the same time, he recommended you to come to me to recruit Ospine, right? Kirimis asked Yan Tailong. Ah! Yan Tailong heard Kirimis exclaim in surprise at first, and at the same time pointed at Ospine in disbelief and asked, Aunt Kirimis, you said that he is Uncle Committees and asked me to recruit. It's him. Yan Tailong, so, didn't Committees tell you? Kirimis asked with a frown. Uncle Committees, he just recommended me to come here. He said that when he came here, he would help me introduce a very powerful expert. At the same time, he didn't tell who it was. Yan Tailong shook his head and said, "This guy Comedies is still the same, he still likes mystery so much." Qi Limisi muttered to herself after hearing Yan Tailong's words, then looked at Yan Tailong with a serious expression and asked, "Yan Tailong, then you think Osbine is your partner?" He. Of course there is no problem with his strength. If he agrees to join my mercenary group, I can let him be my deputy. Yan Tailong was a little surprised when he heard Qi Limisi's words, but he immediately agreed with joy and promised the position of the deputy head of the mercenary regiment. And Kirimis. Osbine was not happy to hear the conversation between Kirimis and Yan Tailong, and was about to object, but was interrupted by Kirimis. "Osbine, I know what do you want to say, but you listen to me first." Seeing that Osbine was interrupted by herself, Kirimis continued without dissatisfaction, "Osbine, you have been with Auntie for 3 months. During this period, Auntie recommended several mercenary groups to you. But you all quit the mercenary group for various reasons, and your aunt didn't blame you, right? Aunt Kirimis, you can't blame me for that. I really can't agree with the practices of those mercenary groups." Ospani interrupted and hurriedly explained when he heard Kirimis talking about mercenaries. "Hey!" Kirimis sighed and continued, "Auntie didn't blame you, I know you don't have sand in your eyes, but as a man you can't make money without a job, and you have to marry a wife in the future. Having a child, if you don't work hard now, you will have a very hard life later. As for Yan Tailong, he looks like he is arrogant, but there are some things that are very similar to you. I think you must be very happy to get along. And Kirimis, I understand, I will promise you, I will join his mercenary group temporarily. If he is like those mercenary groups, I will choose to leave directly, then please don't stop me." Knowing that Kirimis was good for him, and agreed to Kirimis' proposal to join Yan Tailong's mercenary group, but he also made his own request. "Osbine, I can mention Yan Tailong to promise you, as long as you feel that Yan Tailong has the same virtue as the mercenary group you once joined, I will definitely not object if you want to leave, and I will even punish the unsatisfactory guy with my own hands." Kilimizi directly agreed to Ospani's request for Yan Tailong and looked at Yan Tailong with threatening eyes, while Yan Tailong was very embarrassed. "And Kirimis, if you say that, I'm relieved," Ospani said with peace of mind. After resolving the Ospani matter, Kirimis said to Yan Tailong, "It's time to settle our account, follow me to the counter." Yan Tailong was very happy to hear that Kirimis helped him persuade Osbine to join his mercenary corps. He listened obediently and followed Kirimis to the counter when she asked him to settle accounts. "Yumi Lily, I'm going to tell you next, you can write it down for me." When Kirimis came to the counter, she instructed Yumi Lily who was beside her. "Okay, Aunt Missy." Yumi Lily put the notepad on the counter, opened it, and dipped the black ink on the opened quill with a serious expression. Seeing that Yumi Lily was ready, Kirimis said, "Yan Tailong is willing to pay for the accommodation and treatment for his team member Ospani. In addition, Yan Tailong and his team members learned martial arts, which caused major damage to the newly built dormitory of the hotel and shocked the guests who lived here. He himself agreed to compensate the hotel for 300 gold coins. 3,300 GP. Aunt Chili Millie, are you kidding me? My partner and I just damaged the house, and it only takes 5 or 6 GP to fix it, it doesn't cost 300 GP at all, it's extortion." Yan Tailong shouted in dissatisfaction when he heard that the compensation was as high as 300 gold coins. "Has Yumi Lily memorized it?" Kirimis ignored Yan Tailong's words and asked Yumi Lily, who was being memorized. "Yes." Yumi Lily also felt that Kirimis wanted too much, but she still wrote down what she said. "No, there's something wrong with the lady boss." Kirimis heard Yumi Lily's response when she heard her 30-year-old woman store clerk running up to her and shouting loudly. Kirimis raised her brows to the clerk who hurried in and asked, "Bumayuna, what's going on?" Madam Boss, I don't know what happened to the old house, but it suddenly collapsed. Bum Yuna said intermittently, panting. Kirimasi's old house collapsed and asked directly, anyone injured? Madam, you didn't let anyone in earlier, so no one was hurt, but some guests were frightened. Bumwana said fluently. When Kirimis heard Bumwana said that no one was injured, she directly instructed with a little peace of mind, it's fine if there are no injuries. As for the frightened guests, each prepare a small snack as an apology. Okay lady boss, I'll go and tell the kitchen to do it now. Bum Yuna replied when she heard her boss's solution, and then walked towards the kitchen. Bumai Yuna, wait, go and instruct the kitchen to prepare a small snack for all the guests staying in our hotel, and at the same time tell those guests to apologize for scaring them and her because of my mistake. Kirimai seeing that Bumwana was about to leave the door, Si stopped her and ordered to treat all the guests equally. After hearing her boss's instructions, Bumaiuna was a little puzzled why the boss had to spend more money, but she didn't make any sense and directly agreed, yes. Madam, I'll tell the kitchen to do it. Seeing that Bumaiuna was out of the door, Chilimasi turned around and asked Yan Tailong, who had a painful face, Yan Tailong, what's the point of your compensation now? When Yan Tailong heard Kirimi's question, his flesh hurt, and he said embarrassedly, no, but Aunt Kirimis, I don't have that much money on me. When Chilimasi heard Yan Tailong's words, she said, Yan Tailong, give me the money on your body first, and then make compensation when you have the money. Yan Tailong took out 17 gold coins from himself, as well as silver and copper coins worth about 3 gold coins, and said, Aunt Kirimis, here is all my money. Did you only save this amount of money for 2 years abroad? Kilimizi raised her brows and muttered when she saw all the money Yan Tailong had at the counter, then picked up the IOU written in the notepad by Yumi Lily and put it in front of Yan Tailong and said, I will accept these 17 gold coins first, and the remaining silver coins and copper coins will be used as your next living expenses, and write your name under the arrears. Yan Tailong was very painful to see that Chilimis took away the 17 gold coins from him. Then, looking at the IOU in front of him, he took Yumi Lily's quill, tremblingly, and wrote his name under the IOU. Chilimis picked up the notepad with the IOU signed by Yan Tailong, and instructed Yumi Lily with satisfaction, Yumi Lily will prepare a common room for our mercenary head, remember to charge the room, if he has no money, owed. When Yumi Lily heard Kiri Missy's order, she responded, okay, Aunt Missy. Brother Yan Tailong, this way please. Yumi Lily said to Yan Tailong, and then walked towards his accommodation room with a depressed expression and tears in her heart. Brother Yan Tailong, I want to remind you of one thing. Yumi Lily arranged that Yan Tailong did not leave, but said seriously. What's the matter, Sister Yumi Lily? Yan Tailong asked Yumi Lily with a serious face. It's about Big Brother Ospine. Yumi Lily said directly. Ospine, is he like this? Yan Tailong asked suspiciously when he heard about Ospine. Seeing Yan Tailong, Yumi Lily said curiously, Big Brother Ospine, he was injured in our hotel 3 months ago, and was finally rescued by Aunt Misty. Ospine, this shouldn't be a problem, right? Yan Tailong interrupted Yumi Lily's words. When Yumi Lily was interrupted by Yan Tailong, she puffed up her cheeks and said angrily, Brother Yan Tailong, listen to me first, or I'll be angry. Okay, it's my fault. Sister Yumi Lily, please continue. Yan Tailong apologized directly when Yumi was angry. After hearing Yan Tailong's apology, Yumi Lily continued, Brother Ospine, in fact, when he first woke up, he completely lost his memory. He didn't even know who he was. He didn't remember his name until a month later, and I am very jealous of evil, like a knight in a fairy tale. Amnesia. She hates evil and makes Sister Yumi Lily feel like a knight in a fairy tale. It seems that he was either a noble or a knight who was taught very strictly before he lost his memory. It is not easy to get along with him. What? Yan Tialong murmured inwardly when he heard Yumi Lily's words. Brother Yan Tialong, what's the matter with you? Yumi Lily shouted when she saw Yan Tialong, who was in deep thought. Oh, nothing, hee hee. Yan Tialong said to Yumi Lily when he returned. Yumi Lily saw that Yan Tialong looked a little strange and said, Brother Yan Tialong, I have nothing to do. I'll go first. When Yumi Lily left the room, Yan Tialong put his equipment by the bed, and then sat on the bed to rest for a while. At the same time, Kirimi's returned to her room, came to the big iron box with lock, opened the box and looked at the IOU signed by Yan Tialong in her hand and said to herself, it seems that I need to change a notepad. Already. Chi Limisi put Yan Tialong's IOU into the big iron box, locked it and walked out of the room to the hotel counter. Guyu Town, which has entered the evening, has another kind of beauty. Unfortunately, Yan Tialong is not in the mood to see this beautiful scenery. He is now pulling Ospani into the Liuyukian tavern. Uncle Committees, bring me a table of good food and wine. I want to have a new member to join and celebrate. Yan Tialong brought Ospani to the hotel counter and said to the smiling Committees. Captain Yan Tialong, we don't have much money right now, so we don't have to spend it like this. Ospine kindly reminded Yan Tialong that he was going to spend a lot of money. Haha, it's better if you don't have money, and only if you don't have money is the motivation to make money. Yan Tialong replied, and then reminded Committees, Uncle Committees, hurry up and arrange the table. Good. Committees responded, and then called to the female bartender who was chatting with the guests, Lumisi, prepare a table for these two. Okay boss. Lumisi responded, and then took Yan Tialong and Ospine to the empty dining table. Wait, Yan Tialong. Committees said while holding Yan Tialong. Yan Tialong told Ospine that he and Lumisi continued to walk, he came soon, and then asked Committees, Uncle Committees, what's the matter with you? Haha, with you, Yan Tialong actually recruited Ospani. But you have to get along well with him, otherwise Uncle won't spare you. Committees congratulated first, then became serious. Hee hee, Committees, don't worry, I will definitely get along with him. Didn't I invite him to a big meal to celebrate his joining? Yan Tialong said. That's good. Committees finished speaking and went back to the counter, while Yan Tialong walked over to the dining table where he was already seated.